Hey, good evening, everyone. My name's Sam. I'm going to be working on Debate 6 tonight, which is the International Criminal Court has not, in my opinion, been a productive international government agency for trying war criminals. Yeah, using some of my own personal perspectives on this, but I'll get into some of why I think this organization is ineffective, but not one that we should necessarily get rid of. We'll be discussing that tonight. So, a little background about myself. I'm currently active duty in the military. I've been in for 13 years. I've traveled multiple times overseas to various parts of the Western Pacific and the Middle East. So, I've seen different ways, kind of how the world handles things, and then as well as studying politics in this class and other classes here at ASU. So, I've gained a little bit of perspective, but I think it's not necessarily a bad agency, but I think it does fall short in many areas. So, starting out, the International Criminal Court was created in 2002. The United States, noticeably, along with other nations that sometimes are questionable in the areas of human rights, have abstained. So, we got the United States, and then our company in that department is China, Russia, Saudi Arabia. There's some other nations that aren't always up to the most ethical of events at times. It's just telling the truth. Sometimes the truth isn't pretty. But yeah, so the ICC was created 20 years ago, and multiple presidents have come and gone. So I personally, I kind of identify centrally, or like as a centrist. Don't really support or not support like President Biden, or some people have their feelings about Donald Trump, however those may be. That's okay. But I look at the ICC, it's been around for 20 years. The UN's been around since the 40s. Whether you like it or not, or you feel it's effective or not, it's kind of like, in a way, like established precedent. So we kind of got it. The ICC, it's been around for 20 years now. So, in a way, it's not Biden's problem. It's not Trump's problem. We've had Democrats, we've had liberals, all have been aware of it and chosen not to nominate the United States to partake in it. Some have also where I feel like the ICC falls short. This is not necessarily a maybe some people might not find this the most popular, but Iraq and Afghanistan, comparatively, taking a critical sense from, say, like a member of like a third world country, they could view Iraq and Afghanistan as unilaterally undertaken by George W. Bush. It's a intersubjective perspective, but others may see and support President Putin, his actions in Ukraine. They may have their own opinions of that, contrasted with our own. So it depends, in a way, whose team you're rooting for. But going on with this, the United States, noticeably, does claim to be a huge advocate and supporter of human rights. However, they choose to not be part of this. And then, as well, there's footage where Donald Trump spoke in front of the ICC, and he claimed that the ICC has no jurisdiction over Americans. And then the United States, while not being party to this court, they have also actively pushed back against other nations pursuing Americans and CIA agents regarding actions in Afghanistan, support of actions in Israel against Palestinians, and other contentious actions abroad. Once again, kind of like I said earlier, it depends on whose side you're on. Maybe we might view certain people as international criminals or terrorists, and to other sovereign nations, maybe these people might be freedom fighters. So I think the application, participation in the ICC isn't always the greatest or the most effective. It certainly is not the strongest. And then that leads into my next point. The International Criminal Court reviewing the video from Module 2. It's similar to, in my opinion, similar to the current U.S. debate regarding the death penalty. The ICC currently only achieves traction and efficacy in nations regarding African criminals. Once again, similar to the subject of the death penalty, it seems like the courts are only able, or have the most effectiveness of action against defendants that are poor, whether militarily, economically, or just popularity. That's who they're easier. It's easier for them to have more success against versus, say, somebody like President Putin. Obviously, with his actions in Ukraine, there's been wide outcry against it. However, due to obvious mitigating or precluding circumstances, President Putin has not been apprehended. There have not been actions to go after him. Furthermore, footage I found online, Benjamin Ferencz, he was the last remaining Nuremberg prosecutor. He was an American prosecutor. He did make the case objectively that while it may not necessarily be popular, that George W. Bush could similarly be considered a war criminal for unilaterally, with support of coalition nations, but unilaterally leading military forces into both Iraq and Afghanistan, destabilizing the countries and overthrowing the governments, as well as leading to the provisional Iraqi government conducting the trial and execution of Saddam Hussein. So, in short, basically, in summary, well, the ICC, I think, it's not effective. It doesn't achieve the goals that it lays out in its mission statement. I do believe it can be more effective. However, I do not think that it is unessential or is necessarily a bad agency. It does somewhat provide a forcing function and standards for nations and individuals to behave morally and within the law, both within positive law and natural law. And then, as well as they do prosecute and adjudicate some cases of international criminals. But in short, I believe the ICC is not going to achieve effectiveness against international war criminals unless it has full participation, especially from Security Council nations like the United States and Russia, as well as China. With that, I will be signing off. Thank you for your time, all.